The title of the exhibit is Malaria, Blood, Sweat, and Tears. The commissioning agent was the Malaria Consortium out of the UK. So obviously we enjoyed the idea of referencing Churchill's quote, although it's an abridged version of Churchill's quote. It's particularly applicable because malaria is a disease of the blood. One of the symptoms is sweating, and for almost 1 million people around the world every year, the inevitable conclusion is tears because of the death that it brings. The underlying idea was that we would introduce to the public some of the most important facets, both historical and current, that relate to malaria and malaria prevention globally. I started the research by reading excessively about the subject, and then the idea was how we can find a visual means to introduce people to both the science, the present-day prevention, and the horrific human toll that this parasite causes globally. So the basic premise was that I would go into the field and photograph how malaria impacts individuals, and then from those portraits and interviews with the people in the portraits, we would then be able to discuss larger issues associated with malaria control, prevention, and history. But we felt like, because it was a science exhibition, that we faced some other challenges, which we didn't want to overwhelm the viewer with scientific data over and over again in the same visual way. So what I decided to do was we would introduce the public to portraiture of individuals impacted, and then discuss consequences and significance. But then also we would find other visual ways to communicate to the public the basic premises we were trying to get across. And that's why I also SEM images of the vector of mosquitoes to discuss why they're so successful in transmitting the disease. We also have sculptural elements which to show people physically some of the implements that are used so successfully to combat the illness. And we also have like historical posters just to show how the past both represented and attempted to limit transmission. The fundamental idea of the exhibit was to provide people an opportunity to educate themselves about the disease, and as importantly, to create a physical connection, even an empathy, one might say, to the roughly 3 billion people who live with malaria as a daily reality. So what I hope, and I think what the consortium hopes with the sponsorship, is that when people come in, they'll understand the significance of this disease, how it so overwhelmingly impacts an immense number of people around the world. Of course, the science behind it, the reason why it happens, and then what solutions can be easily made available for solution.